Hi friends, Exo Man here, and today I want to talk about some health-related things. I know I'm all over the place when I try to stick to a subject or a topic, but what I want to talk about today is health and how we view our own health and take care of ourselves and what we deem important. And tragically, with so many people, that's not a whole hell of a lot. We don't really take care of ourselves, and we make so many excuses for not doing so. We live our lives haphazardly and recklessly. And what got me thinking about what I want to talk about is I heard an interview on the radio yesterday, and it was with an expert on vehicular collisions, specifically automobile injuries and fatalities, and how we view these things and the language we use to discuss uh, car crashes. So, in a nutshell, what this guy was saying was that we need to change the language of how we discuss vehicular crashes in order to change the statistics. In other words, what he was saying, what he was putting forward was the idea that we should not use the word accident. I had an accident today. They were involved in an accident. An accident took the life of so and so. Instead, we should use the term car crash. And that makes a lot of sense when you think it through, and that is because words matter. Words shape our thoughts and emotions about the things we're talking about and thinking about. So when you call something an accident, you're removing from that very thing any fault or any blame or any responsibility of the parties involved, and you're saying that act uh, was precipitated by no cause of any individual. There was no causation. There was only an accident. It was like you know, just purely blind bad luck that this thing happened. So anyway, if we start using the term crash, then we've changed the concept of it entirely, and we hold some responsibility as individuals using these uh, implements of destruction, if you will, these big heavy metal vehicles that we ride around at great velocity in. So I agree with that. All right, let's extrapolate that same concept and bring it over into the field of health. There are some unavoidable tragedies. Sometimes we are born with disease, and that is that is just dumb luck. That is just tragedy. Um, that we are born with various diseases. However, generally, as a rule, people are overall pretty healthy, or they have the potential to be, but they make bad decisions. And some other things that have affected me lately that I can bring into this discussion are things that have fallen on me. And here are a couple of things that have happened. I did a video about respiratory illness that I had. I don't know what the hell it was. It was some sort of inflammation in my upper respiratory, and it moved into my lungs. I eventually saw a doctor, but got no real answers. And as I said, I don't like to see doctors very often if I can avoid it. But it scared the hell out of me, because when you're short of breath, you feel, as I said, your own mortality. And I watched my mother die of lung disease in a very up close and personal way. But along with that came restless leg. So I had restless leg and I had sleep apnea. Okay, two things, a couple of important things that I learned about both of these conditions is um, how to avoid them, that I can actually avoid them. I learned that men with larger necks, I have a very large neck for my frame, have more propensity to have sleep apnea. And I learned that obesity tends to bring on sleep apnea. I would say the majority of people that have sleep apnea are overweight. Okay, so you could then say it's not by accident that we have sleep apnea, but it's because of the decisions we make and because of how we regulate our own health and bodies. Um, Same with restless leg. you can, people tend to think or want to think that restless leg is a huge mystery. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. RLS, look it up, restless leg syndrome. It's a pretty horrendous condition. It's not life threatening. It doesn't even really affect your overall health in any way, but it is it is awful. It is a purely awful condition that occurs mostly at night when you're trying to sleep and your legs are thrashing, and it's just to say uncomfortable is vastly understated. It is almost a painful experience. It's just and there are varying degrees of it. I had it really bad, and you lose a lot of sleep, and that can threaten your overall health. But I had that, and I learned that there are many suspected culprits in food and beverage, but there are some known culprits like milk and caffeine and things like that. So once again, it's the things that I'm taking into my body that can be a direct cause or at least a strong influence on this condition. So um, you might consider these things sleep apnea. If you're a silver lining person, if you're a brighter side person, you might consider these things blessings, because what they are is a wake up call. Okay, conditions like this, sleep apnea, caused me to evaluate myself and what I'm doing, and I was drinking too much and consuming too much. Yes, I consume healthy foods, but I was consuming too much, and I was getting kind of settled in my ways. I would kick back in the evening and have a few cocktails and grill up some fabulous food or make some Cajun dishes that can be fattening. And I was doing more of that than I was doing the exercise thing. So I was getting kind of off kilter, out of whack there. So what I got into right away was turning that around. And now I'm doing much more exercise, walking mostly, sprinting, things like that, push-ups, sit-ups, all that stuff. Much more of that and much less of the indulging in alcohol and caffeine. I don't do the 4 cups or 5 cups a day. I try to keep it down to 2 in the morning. I walk. I try to walk at least a half hour a day. I do some, like I said, some sprinting and some curls and just various exercises to keep me as healthy and young as possible. So I just wanted to bring that into the forefront and into your realm of thought. So much of life is not by chance. So much of life is not. So many things that befall us are not accidents. We're crashing. We're crashing ourselves against these walls, and we're not really being, the conductors of our own symphonies, if you will. The captains of our own ships. You got to do that. You got to take responsibility. And my wife, Farm Girl, and I, we do a lot of videos about proper nutrition, and so many of us don't have a damn clue about proper nutrition. We talk to people all day long in our business about just basic things like soda, and people get so pissed off when you tell them that soda is pure poison. It's pure, unadulterated poison. If you're drinking sodas all day, every day, you're killing yourself. You truly are killing yourself. So if you can start making some adjustments in your lifestyle and in your head about these things, you can take control of your own health, and you can take control of of things like diabetes and restless leg and sleep apnea and on and on and on. The things that there are so many. There's a myriad of diseases that obesity brings on and poor nutrition and malnutrition that so many Americans suffer from, self-induced. So I just wanted to talk about that today and urge you to examine your behavior and your attitude towards the things that you put in your body. When you really break it down and when you really think about it, it's quite simple. It just comes down to discipline. We must discipline ourselves, and the rewards are so tremendous. I remember when I stood and looked at an ominous ocean in San Diego, and I held a surfboard in my arms, and I'd never stood on a surfboard, and I thrashed around in the water with it a little bit, and it was daunting, to say the least. And my cousin, who had invited me to go out, he said, Jay, he said, once you get up and ride that wave, all of this will mean nothing. He said, when you ride your first wave, it is so beyond worth any of the trouble that you go to get that high. Once you get that high, you'll never want to get off of that board. And that means a lot. That's the way life is. Once you get that high, you'll never want to leave it behind. So once you get healthy, now I'm not talking about these like the show The Biggest Loser and things like that are so dramatic, and it's such a that's not realistic. These people that are losing 300 pounds in 3 weeks, that's dangerous and reckless. I'm talking about turning your head around and your way of thinking and your approach to nutrition and exercise. And one thing leads to another. You feel lethargic because you don't eat properly. Once you eat properly, you gain energy, and then you want to work out more. You want to be more active, and you want to eat more. And you want to eat better food, and it's one foot in front of the other, and you go down that path, and you reap the rewards of good health. There is nothing more valuable than health, nothing. And it has occurred to me so profoundly in recent months. I have been suffering for 4.5, 5 months with respiratory infection. That most important thing of all is breathing. You stop breathing, you stop living, and it is damn scary. And if you've never had a respiratory infection that causes you to almost not be able to breathe, then you don't know what I'm talking about. You might be able to imagine, but it is so scary, and it is such a wake-up call to me, especially again being a guy with a 19 and a half inch neck. If I gain a little bit of fat in here, my when I lay down, my esophagus can sort of collapse under its own weight and shut down my breathing. And when you're sleeping, if that happens, you don't know to take a breath, and it occurs to you that it is it is it is not as involuntary as you think. You sort of need to think about breathing. So anyway, not to get caught up in the sleep apnea thing, but I am in the sweet spot in my life. I'm in my 50s now, and I went through hell as a kid. I had some really hard times, and now it's here's the kind of contrast of life. My life was mostly hell when I was a kid, but it had some richness and some profound goodness and some amazing things and experiences that I cherish. Now my life is, I'm older, and my life is mostly good, but now it's peppered with some misadventures, some illnesses and things like that you have to deal with. The pain, the aches and pain, and the degradation of old age is there. So it was the bad, a lot of bad with a little good, and now it's a lot of good with a little bad. So I have to ferret out these bad things, and I have to learn to cope. It's all about coping. Just as I had to cope with the totality of my rough life as a child, I now have to cope with the small bits of roughness as a middle-aged man, if you will. So in this the sweetest time of my life, I don't want this crap in my life, and so I take control. I take the reins of my life, and I can. It's damn easy when you really think about it, and when that light switch goes off in your mind, to limit the things you put into your body, limit and regulate the things you put in your body. It's not that hard, and I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, I've tried, and my wife and I have tried, and we're obese, and we can't change." Oh, bullshit! You can change in a heartbeat. You just have to want it. So want it. Do you want it? Do you want the good life? Do you want to slowly succumb to disease and decay? Do you want to rot yourself out from the inside with sugar and tobacco and the things that enrich these huge companies? These wealthy people that don't consume their own products the way that you do are out gallivanting around the planet on their yachts while you sit in your suburban life and just consume the garbage that they purvey to you. Stop it. Take control of your life. Stop eating filth from the middle of the store. Start eating fruits and vegetables and lean meats as much as you can. Get rid of all those sugars. They're causing your body to be infested with candida, which robs you of your life force and brings it in and leaves you open to hosting all manner of diseases. Stop doing it. Stop the madness. Just have a basic diet of fruits and vegetables and eggs and, like I say, lighter meats and things like that, and hydrate the hell out of yourself. Get yourself a good, if you can, an alkaline water source and hydrate. So I just wanted to go over some of this and hopefully help somebody out there. Who just you haven't really clicked on as far as you know taking control of your health, and hopefully this will turn you on and get you motivated. But yeah, life is sweet, people. Enjoy it. Take care of your body. That's your vehicle.